there was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudos' testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudos' testimony is simple.
The victim was a
phony! This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up.
What is that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events.
What?
Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Spit take? Yeah!
It's Ruda. Order in the court.
Awesome
Settle
coffee!
down or I'll clear the courtroom of you, Dave.
You'll never get rid of my 59 cousins.
Quiet, Grams. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you just say to me, you dumb little bastard? Right. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup?
Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose, or the espresso purpose, of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that?
Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... The servant girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's a servant girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
It's so hard to believe, but...
There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. What are you doing?
Oh, you could hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What was it?
A bag. I need my own box substitute. Are you insinuating the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the seat of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct?
Ooh la la, this is most difficult for me.
No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribulations that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened.
The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain, in detail, the events in the restaurant that day.
And I started by rubbing oil all over myself.
No, less detail, less detail.
Oui.
You know, in the restaurant.
La victim, Monsieur Erg, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Mon, Erg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred.
I wonder if the winning ticket is actually a ticket at all.
Why?
Like if it's real and all, because that's a hell of a coincidence that it just happened to be a winning one for the phony to be having.
I don't think the phony had it.
We just said the one the old man saw was a phony.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Glenn for real won the lottery, died, then they set up the phony, and the phony pretended to win to emulate it just in case at some point, we were like, so Glenn celebrated his victory, and Victor was like, hey, he never did anything like that. Because bear in mind, we're assuming that the people who set up the fake ones are also the same guy, the phony, are also the same guys who watched Glenn, who killed Glenn in the first place. They know what happened.
We'll see.
Anyway.
None, there was no time for a phony to do the acting.
Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all.
Je vous demande pardon, forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we will hear your
Okay.
cross-examination.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well. And I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Please stop crinkling plastic right on the microphone.
It's not right on the microphone.
It sounds like it is.
Well, I don't know how it's picking it up that well. Plus, I'm throwing it away. The stuff was stale anyway.
I want to look at evidence. I want to look through this again real quick. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I haven't left.
Okay. I'm going to try something.
Okay.
Music didn't stop. Nope. Okay. Just thought I'd give that a shot. Okay.
So, what is it we're trying to prove here? That there were other people in the restaurant.
Let's go. Okay.
So the two...
eventually we're going to prove he didn't come alone. Okay, I'm pretty sure he did come alone and he met the guy there. So he came alone.
We'll see.
He arrived. We're going. This is the imposter. Okay, what we're trying to prove is that there were two separate incidents.
Yes, so that's my thing, is we need to prove there were other people there. So those two people would be either Viola or Tigre.
Except Tigre wasn't there.
Well, he was at some point.
Oh, technically, there were no other customers. There was Viola, who was impersonating Maggie, technically not a customer. And there was Tigre, who I don't know if he might have been the one playing Glenn.
Maybe. He does seem to like to do that. But for now, maybe it would be best to just press everything to see if we get, like, sort of a expanded one.
Okay. Was he alone at his table as well?
Oui. I saw him from the kitchen.
Yet the defendant, Ms. Bird, remembers it differently. She's blah 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 blah.
Fortunately for you, Trite, yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite.
What kind of coffee has he been drinking?
It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet.
Every time I say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
I want to know what time he got there.
Oi, he comes over for my often special coffee.
I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience.
Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome anytime.
I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more.
So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail.
Yes, what time? What time?
Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday.
That was long after the... Okay, we need to get this appended to his testimony and then present the Millionaire magazine thing.
Yeah, because that is long after. Is that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10. Boom!
Just after 2, huh?
Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony so you can blow it to smithereens.
Oui, monsieur judge, everything I do it for you.
Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Ha ha ha.
Glad at least one person is in a good mood.
Ha ha ha.
He's even humming a song to himself.
Hum hum hum.
I don't think we need to press anymore. We know. We freaking know. Ticket.
No.
Also, oh, right. Flyer, sorry.
You almost screwed me over, Ryder. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Also, I totally just realized something.
What?
He's being strong-armed.
He also has strong arms.
That too.
Koi, what do you mean?
Also, just like another person named Armstrong, he uses drugs. Except this one was to kill someone.
I don't think he actually did any of the poisoning.
Okay, but he was still associated. At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece.
Is it bad that whenever you say the word Armstrong, I don't think of Lance Armstrong or Neil Armstrong? I think of Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist.
I actually think of a girl I knew back in kindergarten named Haley Armstrong.
Who used drugs?
No.
That's what you brought up first.
The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of a $500,000 lottery ticket.
Oui, that must be La show Mon Elk was listening to.
Alright, can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright.
I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct?
Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now.
And before he makes up some sort of daylight savings time excuse.
They don't believe in that in Japanifornia. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving my lunch menu. Get to the point, Trite, if you have one. Besides on your hair.
The show was broadcast live at 1:30 p.m., and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life.
It's on the air at 1:30.
Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time.
Dun dun dun. No.
This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over, there's only one conclusion you could draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder.
Rebel.
Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribulations that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness.
Certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. Like sweet, sweet butter. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song.
No, my song's playing right now and it's pretty good.
Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. Phony Elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glen Elg is?
I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead.
That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say.
What?
Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to?
Oh.
I mean,
the missing corpse?
According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. That customer was the phony Glen Elg. Then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? I mean, in the kitchen. Or under the table. There's like a couple different places. The
Prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Yes, Your Honor. We're gonna have to do it on the floor maps.
No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. I know that was the judge's voice. Shut up. I'm having trouble switching. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden.
Evidence?
Oh, medicine fell out of his pocket. What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden?
I was gonna say floor plans, and then point it out.
Well, he asked for evidence, not just the floor plan.
I thought I had it with that contradiction. He's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead.
It's entirely likely that Armstrong stole the stuff from the corpse.
Well, Mr. Wright, the courts will now hear evidence of the defense's theory and evidence.
What?
First, where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed?
It would have to be. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulations.
Interesting. But where could a body have hidden inside the restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. Exact location where the body was concealed inside Tribulations is... I am going to do this just in case.
Kitchen.
The body was hidden here.
I see.
Nice supposition. The real question is, can you back it up? Where is the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? The only thing on its frickin' page.
Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
No. I have never seen such ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me.
Where was that bottle you found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations.
Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. L visited a little clinic and was given medication that day?
You can't be serious.
The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. L.
4.
Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu.
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No.
Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg?
Never. I could not do such a horrible thing.
Let's go.
I couldn't see what was happening. The screen's taking a bit to update a lot.
He just screamed, no!
Like, he's doing like a sort of vertical screen wipe thing.
Mr. Godot?
The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. It's one of my rules.
Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now?
27. And I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Je vous demande pardon, please, you must hear me out. It is a trap, listen to me. Por favor. That is not French.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish.
I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? None. No, no, absolutely no. I simply... Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps?
Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you,
He supports this.
as does my gavel.
Oui, it is clear.
What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this.
Dun 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 dun.
Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
The confession.
It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him, I swear, you must believe me. Wow, only 3 text boxes?
4.
You were forced? By who?
I swear if he says Phoenix. I cannot say or I will be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was... Dun dun dun! There was another man.
I knew it.
Maggie was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer.
Now that is the one.
Do I press or present?
I think the third one, press to see if it lets us elaborate on it, and if it doesn't, present.
And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment.
A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that.
And a bit too male.
I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I'll just have to prove it with evidence.
Alright, just straight up.
Probably this. Yep. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you?
$500,000. Is this true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui. Je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed a lot of money.
Rebel!
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man.
They switched order.
Yeah. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong. La Tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On that day in question, he was meeting my victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie in the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre.
Furio,
Gwah!
Furio Tigre, Furio.
I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket were recovered from the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable.
Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now.
Oh shit, really?
Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
Are we gonna have a third investigation section?
Do you really think that?
30 minutes.
Oh, what?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. You know, I actually really like Gatto, because while he is the antagonist to Phoenix at the moment, he's not a bad guy, and as soon as he sniffs out what he thinks might be the truth, he does actively pursue it.
Yeah, he's like the only prosecutor who doesn't hide facts or anything, though he does oppose us a lot more than I feel like he should. He jumps down our throat immediately before we can even say anything.
Well, that seems like he just actively has something against Phoenix himself, not the system.
I guess.
I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand, not a minute more. I'm gonna go laser face him.
How the...
Laser face. Don't just sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well. The request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. I'll get myself a damn sandwich. That was a short
Yeah.
Alright.
Considering Furio Tigre is the next guy coming up, I'm pretty sure this next court area is the final part.
I hope so. Final stretch.
Alright, let's do this.
So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick.
I wish I could agree.
Huh?
When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth.
You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying?
I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need.
Hey, pal. I'm here with that case-breaking evidence you need.
Detective Gumshoe!
What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair is standing on end.
Hey, real quick, I want to see if we... Yeah, we still have this.
Viola's medical papers. Hey, that's the bot calling the kettle black, little Miss Top Hole. I'm not a top hole.
Never mind about the hair, just calm down, alright?
I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kinda get wound up. Arrgh.
No kidding.
You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything.
Well,
Hey, I'm gonna take a job back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you got an hour.
an hour? The trial will have reconvened by then.
But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right?
True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour?
You bet.
In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me?
Probably the medicine.
If we're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this?
Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right?
Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Okay. Here's the thing, that's not going to help, is it? It's going to be Glenn and John.
Glenn, well, no, because it could be Furio's fingerprints on it, because John said he didn't plant the stuff on Maggie. So someone had to.
This wasn't planted on Maggie. This was just in the kitchen, because it fell out of his pocket.
Oh.
I should have given the poison, if anything.
Well, no, because they already analyzed that for fingerprints.
Yeah, Tigre's probably wearing gloves. I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to.
Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Again. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. Gumshoe.
This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess.
It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys.
Let's go in there and be an all-star. Whoosh. Boom, boom. Tick, tick, tick.